Folks, today we begin chapter 12. Chapter 12 in one word, Beinoni. The word Beinoni means intermediate, means in between, like bein, zeh lezeh, between this and that. Who's the between? Between what we spoke about yesterday, the Russia, we translated as wicked, means a person who has a stain upon them, their soul, that has not been dealt with appropriately. And the tzaddik, the righteous person, who has no stain, not even in the subconscious, the complete tzaddik at least. So what's in between? It's actually an idea probably that we didn't think would be in between. We probably even think this person might be righteous, but in any case, we're going to learn. And my suggestion is that the Beinoni is my suggestion, it's actually the Alter Rebbe's suggestion later on, is that we are all BITs, Beinoni In Training. This is what this book is all about, to train to become what we could become. Righteous, we will learn later, that is a different story. Can we become righteous? We'll get there. We'll deal with that. Let us say for now, let's just blanket statement no. We'll explain later on other further chapters. Chapter 14, actually. But as of now, what we can become and what we need to strive to become is a Beinoni. That's what this book is all about. If you recall from the title page, it was called Sefer Shel Beinonim, the book of the Beinoni, of the intermediate, not the book of the righteous. The Alter Rebbe actually wrote such a book, and it got burnt. It wasn't, I guess, meant to be. But the Beinoni is meant to be. That is what we need to strive towards. And today we're going to begin understanding who that Beinoni is. So, simply put, the Beinoni is a person who the negativity, the evil of the animal soul, the self-directed nature of the animal soul never attains enough power to conquer. If you recall from chapter 9, if two kings are fighting over a small city, me, my body, my being, to fight over it, to take control over it. To take control over what? What I think, what I say, and what I do. Complete control is the battle. So the animal soul wants you to think, speak, and act totally in a self-directed manner. Doesn't mean it's bad. It could be, wonderful things that will come out of that. But it's not divine. It's not holy. It's not what we're here for. We're not here just to follow our natural instinct of the animal soul. So the Beinoni doesn't allow the animal soul to conquer the small city, me. What does that mean? It doesn't allow it to clothes make the man and the woman, I guess especially the woman, make the person, meaning garments are what? Self-expression of the soul. In other words, as we just said, thought, speech, and action. So from the animal soul comes klipa. Klipa is the shell that covers over on the divine. So the animal soul wants that what your thought should be, what your speech should be, what your actions should be based on the animal soul, which are, forbidden thoughts, words that are not appropriate, actions that are not appropriate. And the Beinoni doesn't allow the animal soul to prevail and to win. Only the divine soul extends itself and clothes itself in the body in this small city of the Beinoni, meaning that person's not thinking, cogitating negative thoughts. Cogitating means willfully thinking, because the Beinoni, as we'll learn later more, doesn't have the initial thought, cannot be controlled. But when the thought does come, doesn't allow it to be entertained. An entertained thought, maybe, negative thought. Doesn't allow that, your mouth wants to say something. You bite your tongue. Beinoni bites the tongue. And likewise with action. Only the garments of the divine soul alone manifest itself in the body. The body meaning, what's body? Well, my thoughts, which is a garment expression. In my speech, right? Lips, tongue, and everything else that's involved in speech, and my actions, my hands, my feet, how I act, right? So listen to this. The Beinoni will never transgress and do something wrong. Because the moment you do something wrong, what are you called? A Rasha. Because what happens when you do something wrong? It means you've stained your being. You've allowed the animal soul to take control of you in that moment, and it means a stain to the soul. So throughout the life of the Beinoni, because the Beinoni doesn't, has to become the Beinoni, will never sin. Not even for a moment. Again, because if so, then there's a stain on the soul. You can, of course, do tshuva and so on, but the Beinoni, we're going to learn more about that, is so strong, so powerful, that it's not going to do anything wrong. So then the question becomes, in our minds, I'm sure before we started learning Tanya, we thought that kind of person who never entertained a bad thought, entertained it, right? Never said a bad word, never did something wrong. That's not a tzaddik. Well, we learned in chapter 10, and I think we have the answer, but the Alter Rebbe here forewarns that. No, it's not. Because what does not the Beinoni have mastery over? Or rather, he has mastery, or she has mastery only over the garments. Self-expression of the soul. But the essence of the soul? And what defines the essence of the soul? Intelligence, emotions. Not the expression of an emotion. That's already in your thoughts and your speech. When you get very riled up about something, right? Because you're emotionally riled up, what do? You express it. Do you have to express it? No. You could be riled up emotionally, but you don't express it. You could be riled up emotionally and it comes to your mind and you push away that thought, right? But you're riled up. There's something emotionally going on inside of you. The Beinoni doesn't have mastery over that, right? In other words, he doesn't have undisputed sovereignty over the individual, over the small city, the body of the person, because there's still another king that's vying for also sovereignty and battling. Loses the battle all the time, the animal soul, but the animal soul is still battling to try to win. There is a time, though, that the Beinoni, somewhat similar to the tzaddik, has undisputed sovereignty over their being. And that is a time of prayer. During the prayer, the Shema, the Amida. Why that time? Is because the supernal intellect of the divine is illuminating. And therefore it's illuminating the worlds and illuminating the Beinoni, the prayers, to such a degree that the intellectual faculties move the heart and the emotions to such a deep love and awe of God, arousing this burning desire that lead that person, the Beinoni, to be totally enraptured, totally bound up to God through Torah and mitzvahs only, and desiring only that, and food or other mundane things have no relevance at that moment, have no bearing at that moment, are not something that the Beinoni is struggling with at that moment. Not at all, because the devotion is so powerful. So it's the negativity in the left part of the heart is so subjugated, nullified to the goodness and the love of God that is in the right part of the heart, that it spread to there, and at that moment in prayer, totally bound up in such a way that there is no feeling of a mundane world, that there's an attraction. But you know what happens after davening? For the Beinoni, at least, which is not the case of the tzaddik. The attraction comes back. The attraction comes back, and no longer feel that powerful love and awe of God as in prayer, and the attraction for worldly things, for self-directed pleasures, come back. And that's, in that moment, shows how that person's not the righteous person, because by the righteous person, it doesn't come back. Well, it doesn't come at all, right? But for the Beinoni, it does. Powerful. This is something we could achieve. This is pretty lofty. But this is what it means to be in the game. This is what it means, Tanya. That this is where we're trying to come to, this self-mastery of our thought, speech, and actions. That we don't allow the animal soul to take sway. And truth is, it's a lifetime struggle. And it's not about becoming the Beinoni, because not too many Beinonis. It's about being a Beinoni in training. Is that this is the direction we're taking. This is the goal. This is the goal. Some people, their goal in life is just to fulfill that which they desire, that which they feel, that which they want. They seek to fulfill that. That's an expression of the animal soul. It could be nice things that you're doing, but that's self-serving. That's not serving God. And definitely not a Beinoni, because you're dictated only by the animal soul. And we will be dictated, and let's, be very open. We will be dictated by it. This is a lofty level. But the fact that this is the direction we want to take, that we want to be a Beinoni in training, this is the most important thing. And we have that capability of, moving in that direction. In other words, to serve in such a way that I'm seeking that my godly soul should find its expression with me in my thought, speech, and action, and not that the animal soul is finding an expression within me. So, just to give an example, you're in human relations. Someone, said something not so nice, whether it was to you, let's say to you. And so the human soul will, okay, I'm better than that. I'm not going to allow that to get me down. I'm not, I'm not going to let that person control me. That's all self-directed animal soul talk. The godly soul will be able to have compassion for that person. The godly soul will also be able to accept what was said, true or not true, and take a lesson from it. That's not so easy, but we're a work in progress. Beinoni In Training. Welcome to the club, everybody. All right, folks. I know now that. Can you please share with me? I know now. Please, this is not a place for any kind of proselytizing, or anything like that. This is not welcome. Okay, please share. David says, I know now that the Beinoni has no struggle with the animal soul during prayer, but has a struggle with its desires, which he wins, versus the tzaddik that doesn't have that struggle as he has, and as it doesn't get expressed even in thought. Excellent. Thank you, David. John says, I know now that we must not allow the animal soul to dominate the divine soul even for a second, lest it get momentum. Very good. Thank you, Eugene. Says, I know now that the Beinoni is a person who mastered expression of the soul, achieving a complete mastery of conscious thought, speech, and action. Our goal is to strive towards being the Beinoni in training. I know now that I am definitely want to be in the BIT club. Excellent. Chris, I know now that the road to righteousness is complex, a bit lonely, and tough as nails. Yes, but that's not our road, Chris. That's not our road, as we will learn more about later. Mark Lozata says, I know now that I have a club to belong to. All right. Wonderful. Katie, I know now that the Beinoni is the in-between state where the person can push away the self-directed urges of the animal soul in expression, but has not achieved complete mastery over it. He can gain control over the animal soul during prayer. Excellent. Wow, you guys are great. Anna says, I know now that the highest possible level for me to achieve is that of a Beinoni in training. Or a Beinoni, or a Beinoni, but right now we're a Beinoni in training. Shoshana Bina, I know now that today is a good day to start or restart the BIT goals. All right. Tarek, we always have to fight with our ego. Yes. Michael, I know now that the left side of the heart is negative. That I assume is why the left arm is wrapped with tefillin. Okay, very good. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. I know, Hannah, I know now that the intelligence, the emotions define the soul, but the expression of emotions and the Beinoni, like the tzaddik, can have undisputed sovereignty over the mundane world and the animal soul when bound up in prayer. At that moment, the Beinoni does not struggle, so bound up, she is in the connection with the divine. Beinoni is a person that does not allow the self-directed nature of the animal soul to prevail. Excellent. Arlene is asking to expand on the word Beinoni. Again, Beinoni means in between the Rasha and the Tzaddik, the wicked and the righteous. And as we just learned, not like the righteous, because the righteous has control over the essence of the soul, the intelligence and the emotions. which is far deeper than the expression of the soul. And we're going to learn more about the Beinoni, so we'll have a much more elaborate understanding. Rachel, I know now that I was meant to be different, to be in being change that will bring us together. But okay, thank you. Rena, I know now that I want to be a Beinoni, so I am a Beinoni in training. Excellent. Vatya says, I know now that I've learned much in the last 4 years, but that I have much more in progress to have the ability to achieve the BIT level. Excellent. You guys are great. Okay. Let's keep it up. We welcome to the club, and we will continue to make certain that we grow and go from strength to strength, and don't allow I'm just really curious if this is going to work. Hannah, would you like to come on camera? I'm trying to figure out how this works, and I haven't, because it says here they can bring on camera, and then if you can express what you express so nicely on camera, why it only comes up with a few people, I'm not exactly certain. But I'm making the request, and you could do if you're ready. Adding. The guesticle. Okay. All right. Another time. All right, folks. Sharing is caring. Please share the author of his teachings with others. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Gedeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.